Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. When they assigned me to document the arrival of the human diplomatic party on Station Krell 9, I thought it would be the most boring 3 cycles of my life. Fill out forms, record pleasantries, watch a bunch of soft-skinned bipeds shuffle around looking confused by our gravity settings. Standard procedure for a low-ranking Vixorian intelligence officer with exactly 0 commendations and a drinking problem I swear I have under control. Spoiler alert, I was catastrophically wrong. The transport docked at 0600 station time. I remember because I was nursing my 4th cup of Stimcaf, trying to pretend my head wasn't pounding from the night before. My supervisor, a particularly unpleasant Vixorian named Gormath who had breath like rotting Kelmar fruit, was shoving me toward the docking bay. Try not to embarrass the entire intelligence division, he wheezed at me. Just one. The humans came through the airlock in a neat little line. 3 diplomats in fancy clothing, 2 guards in light armor, and her name was Kira Vell. 23 standard cycles old according to the manifest. Brown skin, dark hair pulled back in some kind of practical knot. Average height for a human, which meant she came up to maybe my chest. She wore simple gray clothing, no armor, no visible weapons. She looked like she'd been hired last minute to carry luggage or something equally unimportant. I remember thinking, great, they brought an intern. The head diplomat was a pompous male called Ambassador Marcus Hunt. Tall for a human, silver hair, the kind of voice that suggested he enjoyed hearing himself talk. A lot. He immediately started glad-handing Commander Vril, our station overseer, spouting diplomatic nonsense about friendship between species and mutual cooperation. Standard stuff. I was already mentally composing my report. Day 1. Nothing happened. Everyone smiled. End report. Then the alarms went off. Not the standard docking bay alarms. Not the someone forgot to pressurize a chamber alarms. The ones that mean someone is actively trying to kill you. The pitch that makes your organs vibrate and your survival instincts scream at you to run. The station's communication system crackled to life. Breach in Sector 7. Multiple hostiles. Razorlock war party. All security personnel respond. Oh no, the Razorlocks. Right. I should probably explain them to you. Imagine if someone took a nightmare, gave it 6 limbs, covered it in obsidian black chitinous plates, added about 400 razor-sharp edges, and then made it really angry at the concept of living creatures existing near it. They're raiders, pirates, murderers. They don't negotiate. They don't take prisoners unless they're planning to eat them later, and they definitely don't show up at diplomatic stations unless they're planning to kill everyone and strip the place for parts. The docking bay erupted into chaos. Not the fun kind. Commander Vril was shouting orders. The human guards were pulling out their weapons, these primitive projectile launchers they call guns. The diplomats were screaming. Someone activated the emergency bulkhead protocols, and I was standing there like an idiot still holding my Stimcaf watching the color drain from Gormath's face. Get them to the secure wing. Vril roared at me. At my... the guy who couldn't even file reports on time. I said intelligently. A razorlock burst through the northern access corridor. 3 meters of bladed death, moving like liquid violence. Its compound eyes fixed on our little group, and it made this sound. This chittering, clicking sound that roughly translates to, "Oh good fresh meat." One of the human guards fired. 3 times. The projectile sparked off the Razorlock's armor plates, and did exactly nothing. The creature lunged forward, closed the distance in maybe 2 seconds, and removed the guard's arm with one casual swipe of its bladed forearm. The guard went down screaming. Blood everywhere. His partner was backing up, still firing, still accomplishing nothing. The Razorlock clicked again, laughing probably. Ambassador Hunt was yelling something about protocols and proper procedure. Like that was going to help. Gormath had already run. Just straight up bolted for the secondary airlock. Coward. I was frozen. Literally couldn't move. Watching this thing advance on us. Watching it prepare to turn all of us into decorative meat sculptures. And then Kira Vell moved. I've seen a lot of species in combat. Vexorians use plasma weapons and tactical shields. The Crandell prefer heavy artillery and overwhelming force. The Silicate Collective just sort of absorbs things. But I had never seen anything move like this human girl move. She was across the bay in 3 steps. Not running. Gliding. Like gravity was a suggestion she chose to mostly ignore. The wounded guard's weapon was on the floor, and she scooped it up without breaking stride. checked something on its side. One fluid motion, maybe a second total, and then she was inside the razor lock's reach, which is, let me be clear, exactly where you don't want to be. The razor lock swiped at her, those bladed arms moving fast enough to whistle through the air. She ducked under the first strike, slid left to avoid the second. The third one should have caught her across the ribs, should have opened her up like a ration pack, but somehow she was turning impossibly fast, and the blade passed centimeters from her skin. She jammed the weapon up under the razor lock's chin, right where the armor plates meet the softer neck tissue, and fired 6 times. The creature's head snapped back. Green Ixor sprayed across the docking bay floor. It staggered, tried to bring its arms around for another strike. Failed. Collapsed. Dead. Just like that. Maybe 5 seconds total from movement to corpse. The bay went silent except for the alarms and the wounded guards moaning. Kira stood over the body, chest heaving, weapon still raised. Then she looked at me. Direct eye contact. And I swear there was something in those eyes that made every prey instinct in my body light up like a festival display. More coming, she asked. Her voice was calm. Level. Like she'd just asked about the weather. Yes. Probably. They travel in packs. Usually 6 to 10 individuals per raid group. She nodded once. Checked the weapon again. This thing hold 30 rounds. Probably 5 or 6 shots per kill if I'm precise. Need to find more ammunition. You're going to fight them? Ambassador Hunt sputtered. Miss Val, your contract specifies administrative duties only. This is highly irregular. She looked at him. Just looked. And he stopped talking immediately. Get them to your secure wing, she said to me. I'll buy you time. You can't fight a Razorlock war party alone, I said. Because I'm an idiot. That's suicide. The corner of her mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Probably. Another alarm. Closer. The emergency bulkhead 3 corridors over was showing breach warnings on my wrist display. They were cutting through. Go, Kira said. I went. Getting the diplomatic party to the secure wing was a nightmare of running through corridors, arguing with panic station personnel, and listening to Ambassador Hunt complain about proper evacuation procedures. The wounded guard needed medical attention. The other guard, a tough-looking woman named Torres, kept her weapon ready and didn't say much. We made it to the secure wing just as the main station defense grid started firing. I could hear the plasma cannons through the walls. Boom, boom, boom. The steady rhythm of automated defense systems trying to keep the Razorlocks off us. Commander Vril was already there, coordinating the defense from the command center. Screens everywhere showing different sectors of the station, red indicators spreading like a disease. The Razorlocks had breached in 7 different locations. Professional work. This wasn't a random raid, this was planned. Where's the rest of the human party? Vril demanded. I said again. Really eloquent. There was one more. Kiravel. She stayed behind. He said what? She killed a Razorlock in the docking bay, then told us to run. Vril's face, which normally was a pleasant shade of blue, turned kind of purple. One human, against a Razorlock war party. Are all your species suicidal? Apparently yes, I offered. Torres spoke up. Sir, you don't understand. Kira's not regular diplomatic staff. I can see that. Vril snapped. No, I mean she's former military. Special operations. She's only with this mission because she's transitioning back to civilian life. They thought it would be an easy assignment. Or, that made more sense. Humans had military, I knew that. Theoretically. But special operations? That usually meant the really dangerous ones. The ones they sent to do the jobs that regular soldiers wouldn't survive. One of the monitors flickered. Camera feed from Corridor 12, near where we'd left Kira. Static. Then an 3 Razorlocks moving in formation. Checking corners. Professional hunters tracking prey. Then a blur of motion. One of the Razorlocks jerked backward. Fell. The other 2 spun around searching for the threat. Another blur. The second Razorlock's leg crumpled. It went down hard. The third one was chittering, spinning, blades out, trying to find the enemy. Kira dropped from the ceiling access panel directly onto its back. Wrapped her legs around its thorax. Jammed something looked like a maintenance tool into the gap between its head and shoulder plates. Levered. Hard. There was a crack we could hear through the audio feed. The creature collapsed. She rolled off. Picked up one of the fallen Razorlock's bladed arms. I'm not kidding, just snapped it off at the joint and hefted it like a weapon. Started moving down the corridor toward Sector 7. Toward where the main breach was happening. That's not possible. breathed one of the Victorian tactical officers. Razorlocks are apex predators. They don't go down like that. Torres allowed herself a small smile. You've never seen a human hunt before. The next hour was surreal. We watched on the monitors. Kira moving through the station like a ghost. Sometimes we'd see her. Sometimes just the aftermath. Dead razorlocks. In corridors. Broken ambushes. Traps that the raiders walked into and didn't walk out of. She used station systems against them. Sealed bulkheads to split their groups. Vented atmosphere in non-essential corridors. At one point she apparently rigged an emergency fire suppression system to spray liquid coolant, which slowed the razorlocks down enough for station security to catch up and finish them off with plasma fire. She's fighting a guerrilla war, muttered Vril, watching the screens with something like awe. Against a species that invented guerrilla warfare. And when station security finally organized a proper defensive line in Sector 9, 10 Vexorian soldiers with heavy weapons, backed by automated turrets, they held position at a choke point, ready to stop the razorlock advance. 4 raiders came down the corridor at them. Full sprint. Death incarnate. Security opened fire. Got 2 of them. The other 2 were going to make it through, going to break the line, going to flood into the station's core systems. Kira appeared behind the razorlocks. Just stepped out of a maintenance shaft behind them. They never saw her coming. She had acquired, and I'm still not sure how, a plasma cutter from somewhere. The kind maintenance uses to cut through bulkheads. She cut through a razorlock instead. Then the other one. Both down before they could turn around. Before they could even register the threat. She nodded at the security team. Kept moving. By hour 2 the razorlocks were retreating. Actually retreating. Not because our security had beaten them. Not because their raid had failed. Because they were being hunted. By one unarmed human female, who apparently decided she was personally offended by their existence. The last group of raiders tried to make it back to their breaching pod. Kira was there first. Did something to the pod's external locks. Sealed them in. They were trapped between her and station security. It wasn't a fight. It was an execution. When the final all clear sounded, the station had lost 12 personnel. 17 wounded. Could have been hundreds. Would have been without her. They found Kira in Corridor 23 sitting against a wall, covered in green ichor and her own blood from a dozen minor cuts. The makeshift weapon that severed Razorlock arm lay next to her. She was drinking from a water bottle someone had dropped during the evacuation. Torres and I went to get her. Ambassador Hunt was busy filing formal complaints or something equally useless. "You all right?" Torres asked. Kira looked up. Smiled. A real smile this time. "Yeah, a little tired. Your station's layout is confusing. You just killed, what, 16 Razorlocks?" I said. She considered. 19. 3 in the initial breach. Then others in groups of 2 or 3. Lost count after 12. 19. She'd killed 19 Razorlocks. In 2 hours. By herself. "That's insane," I said. "Nah." She took another drink. Insane would be fighting them fair. I cheated the whole time, used every advantage I could find. "There's going to be a formal recognition ceremony," Torres said. "Command wants to present you with a station honor or something." Kira groaned. "Can I skip it? Those things are always boring." By nightfall station time everyone knew. The story spread through Krell 9 like a virus. Exaggerated with every telling, but somehow never quite matching how terrifying the actual truth was. The human who'd single-handedly stopped a Razorlock raid, who'd hunted the hunter. Someone in security started calling her Death Whisper, because she'd moved through the station like a ghost, silent, lethal, there one moment and gone the next, leaving only corpses in her wake. The name stuck. I filed my report that night. Longest report I'd ever written. Most honest, too. Gormath read it, turned that unhealthy purple color again and forwarded it up the chain of command without comment. Ambassador Hunt lodged a formal complaint about unauthorized use of violence and deviation from diplomatic protocols. Nobody cared. He shut up when Commander Vril pointed out that Kira had saved his life. Multiple times. By killing the things actively trying to murder him. I found Kira later in the station's observation deck. She was looking out at the stars. Just standing there. "Peaceful." "They're calling you Death Whisper," I said. She snorted. "That's dramatic. You earned it. I did my job. Kept people safe. That's all." I stood next to her. Looked out at the same stars. "Why did you stay behind? You could have evacuated with us. Would have been safer." She was quiet for a long moment. Then, because someone had to. And I knew how. Your people are terrifying, I said. She laughed. Actually laughed. Full and genuine. Yeah. Sometimes we are. But only when we need to be. That's when I understood something. Humans are predators. Like actual apex predators. They evolved hunting other creatures on a Deathworld. But they're not mindless about it. They choose when to hunt. When to be dangerous. When to become. And that choice? That makes them more dangerous than any Razorlock could ever be. Kira stayed on station for another week. The diplomatic mission was a massive success. Mostly because every species representative was too busy being terrified and impressed to argue about trade agreements. She attended exactly one ceremony, looked uncomfortable the entire time and left as soon as was polite. The day she shipped out, half the station came to see her off. She just waved, smiled, and walked down to the transport like she was catching a bus. Death Whisper. The human girl who killed 19 Razorlocks in 2 hours and then complained about missing lunch. I've told this story 100 times since then. In bars, at intelligence briefings, once at a multi-species conference on station defense protocols. And every single time someone asks the same question, are all humans like that? And I tell them the truth. The terrifying truth. Most humans are peaceful. Friendly. They make great neighbors. Fantastic allies. But when you threaten them, when you threaten the people they've decided to protect, then they remember what they are. Hunters, and you become the prey. 3 cycles later, I got promoted.
Yeah, me.
The guy who could barely file reports on time suddenly became senior intelligence analyst. Gormath got demoted to data entry. Apparently running away during a crisis looks bad on your permanent record. Who knew? My first assignment in my shiny new position was to compile a comprehensive report on human combat capabilities. Not because anyone doubted humans anymore. Oh no, because now every species in the sector wanted to know exactly what they were capable of. The Council of United Sectors, all 47 member species, formally requested detailed analysis. Translation? Everyone was scared. They just wanted to know how scared they should be. I spent weeks digging through human military records. Public ones, obviously. They weren't about to hand over classified information to some random Vixorian who got promoted by accident. But even the public stuff was enough to make my scales itch. Humans had been fighting wars for their entire recorded history. Not occasional conflicts like most species. Constant, unending warfare. Against each other. Mostly. They'd gotten really good at it. Then they'd stopped fighting each other quite so much, developed space travel, and apparently decided to bring those skills to the galaxy at large. The thing is, most species develop warfare as a necessity. A response to threats. Humans seem to have developed it as an art form. They had entire academic fields dedicated to studying combat, strategy, tactics, logistics. They wrote poetry about battles, made entertainment about war. It was woven into their entire culture. I was reading about something called the Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 humans held off an army of thousands for 3 days, when my communication panel beeped. Incoming message. Priority Alpha. Priority Alpha meant drop everything and pay attention. I'd never received a Priority Alpha before. The message was from Commander Vril. Short and direct. Report to my office immediately. Bring your human combat analysis. All of it. Well, that sounded ominous. Vril's office overlooked the main docking bay. Floor-to-ceiling view screens on one wall. Expensive furniture that probably cost more than I made in a year. And sitting across from Vril's desk, looking uncomfortable in a chair designed for Vixorian proportions, was Kira. Close the door, Vril said. I closed the door, stood there awkwardly. Sir, sit down. We have a problem. I sat. Looked at Kira. She gave me a small nod. She was wearing different clothing now. Darker, more tactical. Like she was expecting trouble. 2 days ago, Vril began, a human transport ship went missing in the Kelvaris expanse. 16 crew. 12 passengers. No distress signal. No debris field. Just gone. The Kelvaros expanse. Great. That was a lovely section of space known primarily for being completely lawless. No government control. No security patrols. Just pirates. Smugglers, and things that ate pirates, and smugglers. The Razorlocks? I asked. Worse, Vril said. Harvesters. Oh no. Oh no. Harvesters were a species that made Razorlocks look like friendly neighbors. They were slavers, body part dealers, They'd capture ships, strip them for valuables, and sell the crew to whoever paid the most. Sometimes as labor, sometimes as food, sometimes as component parts for biological experiments that violated about 1,700 interstellar laws. No one messed with harvesters because they operated out of the expanse where no government had jurisdiction, and because they had enough firepower to fight off anyone stupid enough to try. The human government has requested assistance locating their people, Vril continued. Officially, through proper diplomatic channels, and unofficially? I asked, because I wasn't stupid. Vril looked at Kira. She spoke up for the first time. Unofficially, if we don't find them in the next 72 hours, Earth is sending in a military strike force. 3 warships. Full combat deployment. That will start a war, I said. The Council won't allow military action in the expanse. It violates the non-aggression treaty. Half the member species will see it as human expansion. You'll have a political nightmare. Correct, Vril said. Which is why we need a quieter solution. Something that doesn't involve warships and interstellar incidents. They both looked at me. Why are you looking at me? I'm an analyst. I analyze things. I don't do field work. I'm terrible at field work. You know the expanse, Vril said. You spent 2 years mapping smuggling routes before you came to Krell 9. You have contacts, information sources, and you understand humans now. I understand that humans are terrifying. That doesn't qualify me for a rescue mission. Kira smiled. That same smile from the station attack. The one that made my survival instinct scream. You're not coming on the rescue mission. You're providing intelligence support. I'm doing the rescue. You, one person, against a harvester operation. Yes, that's even more insane than fighting razorlocks. She shrugged. Probably. Vril activated a holographic display. A star map appeared showing the Kelvaros expanse. Red markers indicated known harvester locations. There were dozens of them. We've narrowed down the likely location based on ship trajectories and harvester activity patterns. 3 possible sites. Station analyst, you're going to help Miss Vel identify the correct one, then provide tactical information. After that, you're staying on the ship, while she handles the extraction. Just me? Kira asked. No backup team. The fewer people involved, the less chance of this becoming an official incident. You've demonstrated you can operate independently. Human Command specifically requested you. Of course they did. 'Cause apparently once you kill 19 razorlocks, everyone assumes you can handle anything. I need equipment, Kira said. Real weapons this time. Not improvised station maintenance tools, already arranged. The human embassy is providing a full tactical loadout. Nothing that officially exists, of course. Of course. And that's how I ended up on a retrofitted cargo transport, flying into the most dangerous section of space in the sector, with a human who'd earned the nickname Death Whisper. My life had gotten very strange very quickly. The ship was called the Drifting Nomad, civilian registry, completely ordinary. The kind of ship that moved cargo between systems and drew absolutely no attention. Perfect for sneaking into places you weren't supposed to be. The pilot was a Crandell named Torvik. 4 arms, crystalline vision organs, and a personality that suggested he'd seen too much and cared too little. I run supplies to expanse stations, he said when we boarded. Don't ask what kind of supplies. Don't look in the cargo hold. Don't touch anything. We understand each other perfectly, I said. Kira spent the first day of transit checking her equipment. And what equipment it was. Human weapons technology was apparently more advanced than I'd realized. Compact projectile weapons with smart targeting systems, explosives, the size of my thumb that could breach bulkheads, something she called a tactical knife that looked like it could cut through starship hull plating. Expecting trouble? I asked. Always expect trouble. Then you're pleasantly surprised when things go smooth. Do things ever go smooth for you? She considered. Not really, but I stay optimistic. I pulled up my intelligence files on the 3 possible harvester locations. Started cross-referencing with recent activity reports I'd bought from information brokers using Vril's emergency discretionary fund. Shady business. Made me feel dirty. Also made me feel kind of cool, like a real intelligence operative instead of a guy who usually just compiled data. Location 1, I said, projecting a hologram. Harvester processing station. Small, maybe 20 personnel. They specialize in medical harvesting, selling organs to species that need transplants. Kira's face went hard. Pass. What? If they're medical harvesters, the crew is already dead. They don't keep prisoners longer than necessary. Time-sensitive inventory. Oh, right. I tried not to think about that too hard. Location 2. Larger operation. Labor processing. They capture crews and sell them to mining operations and unregulated systems. Usually keep prisoners for weeks while arranging sales, more likely. What's security like? Heavy. 40 to 50 harvester guards. Automated defense systems. They're paranoid about rescue attempts. Can you handle that? I asked. She looked at me. Raised an eyebrow. I handled 19 razor locks with a maintenance tool and improvised weapons. What do you think? Right. Stupid question. Location 3? I pulled up the final file. This one's weird. It's not a station. It's a ship. Massive. Thing. Harvester command vessel called the Bitter Prophet. Mobile processing facility. They grab ships, strip them while in transit, then move on before anyone can track them. Intelligence suggests they keep high-value prisoners for extended periods, use them for leverage and negotiation. Kira leaned forward studying the hologram. Humans would be high value. We're new to the galactic scene. Unknown capabilities. Someone would pay premium prices for information. So Bitter Prophet is our target? Probably. Can you track it? I pulled up trajectory data, cross-referenced with merchant ship reports, applied some analysis algorithms I'd been developing. The pattern emerged, slowly, like watching a predator's hunting ground take shape. There, I said, highlighting a section of space. They patrol this area. Hit ships along established routes. Based on their pattern, they should be here. I marked a location in approximately 18 hours. Good work, Kira said. I felt an inappropriate amount of pride at that. Professional soldier compliments awkward intelligence analyst. My day was made. Torvik brought us into the target zone 12 hours later, running silent. All non-essential systems powered down. Drifting like debris. Wait, the Bitter Prophet showed up right on schedule, and it was exactly as terrifying as the intelligence report suggested. 3 kilometers of ugly, brutal starship, covered in weapon emplacements. Scarred hull plates from dozens of battles. It looked like someone had taken every intimidating design element from every species and mashed them together into one nightmare vessel. That's a lot of ship, Torvik observed. That's a lot of guns, I added. Kira was studying it through the view screen. Calm. Focused. How many crew? Intelligence estimates 200 to 300 harvesters, plus whatever prisoners they're holding, plus automated systems. So I need to get on board, locate the human prisoners, extract them, get back to this ship. All without being detected or killed. Yes, sounds fun. You have a very strange definition of fun, she grinned. Actually grinned. You should have seen my last assignment. This is a vacation by comparison. The Bitter Prophet docked with a disabled transport vessel. We watched on long-range sensors as harvester troops boarded. Efficient. Professional. They'd done this hundreds of times. 15 minutes later, the transport was stripped. Crew captured. Valuable cargo transferred. The harvesters left the empty hull drifting and moved on. That's our window, Kira said. They'll be processing the new prisoners. Distracted. I can use their own docking bay. Hide among the captured cargo. How are you getting over there? AVA suit. Thrusters. I drift across like debris. Board during their next capture operation. That's insane. You keep saying that. I'm starting to think you don't believe in me. I believe you're capable. I also believe this plan has 17,000 ways to go wrong. She checked her equipment one final time. Sealed her EVA suit. Then I'll improvise. Worked last time. Torvik activated the airlock. Kira stepped in, looked back at me through the viewport. If I'm not back in 6 hours, leave. Don't wait. Just go. We're not leaving you behind, I said. Yes, you are. That's an order from human command. No rescue attempts. No heroics. You get caught. This becomes an interstellar incident. Understand? I didn't answer. She took that as agreement. The airlock cycled. She drifted out into space. Small. Fragile looking. One human in a suit, floating toward a ship full of hundreds of armed hostiles. I watched her disappear among the debris field. Lost her signal after 2 minutes. Your human is crazy, Torvik said. Yeah, I agreed. But she's our crazy human. 6 hours. We had to wait 6 hours. I spent it analyzing every piece of data I had on the Bitter Prophet, mapping internal layouts based on sensor readings, identifying possible escape routes, trying to be useful instead of just sitting there panicking. Torvik made tea. Some kind of Crandale brew that tasted like burned metal and regret. It helped somehow. You ever see combat? He asked. No. I'm intelligence. We avoid combat. That's kind of the point, but you went into the station during the Razorlock attack. That was different. That was evacuation. I was just moving people to safety, while humans fought the monsters. While one human fought the monsters, I corrected. Kira did all of it. Torvik was quiet for a moment. My species were peaceful. Strong, but peaceful. We don't understand humans yet. Don't know if we should fear them or befriend them. Both, I said. Definitely both. 4 hours in, my sensor board lit up. Energy signatures from the Bitter Prophet. Weapons fire. Internal combat. Something was happening inside that ship. Should we move closer? Torvik asked. No. We stay here. Follow the plan. The energy signatures intensified. Explosions. Hull breaches. The Bitter Prophet was firing its internal defense systems. At what? I couldn't tell. But something had them panicked. 5 hours. The weapons fire stopped. The ship went silent. 5.5 hours. Still nothing. I was preparing myself for the worst. Preparing to tell Torvik to fire up the engines and run. Preparing to report back to Vril that we'd lost her. That Death Whisper had finally met something she couldn't beat. Then my communication panel beeped. Incoming signal. Audio only. Weak. Encrypted with human military codes. Kira's voice crackled through. Drifting Nomad. This is Vel. I have the package. 16 crew. 12 passengers. All accounted for. Requesting immediate pickup at coordinates I'm transmitting now. Also, you might want to hurry. The harvesters are very upset with me. I nearly collapsed with relief. Copy that. We're inbound. What's your status? Oh, you know. Normal rescue operation stuff. Killed maybe 30 harvesters. Sabotaged their main reactor. Started a mutiny among their prisoner workforce. Standard Tuesday. 30. She'd killed 30 harvesters. Inside their own ship. While rescuing 28 human prisoners. In 6 hours. Are you injured? I managed to ask. Nothing serious. One of the humans, a medic, patched me up. We're at emergency airlock 7. Bitter Prophet's internal security is mostly offline. But they're regrouping. Would really appreciate that pickup. Torvik was already moving. The drifting Nomad powered up. Engines engaging, racing toward the coordinates. We covered the distance in 4 minutes. Felt like 4 hours. The emergency airlock was on the Bitter Prophet's lower hull. Damaged. Partially breached. And there, clustered around it in EVA suits, were 29 humans, including Kira. We matched trajectory. Extended our docking tube. They came across in groups of 4. Quick. Efficient. Several were injured. Most looked terrified. But alive. All alive. Kira came across last. Sealed the airlock behind her. Removed her helmet. She was covered in purple ichor this time. Harvester blood. And she was grinning. Miss me? She asked. You're insane. I shouted. Completely insane. Yeah, I get that a lot. Behind us, the Bitter Prophet started to glow. Orange at first. Then red. Then bright white. The reactor breach Kira had mentioned was apparently progressing faster than expected. Torvik? I yelled. Get us out of here. The drifting Nomad jumped to faster than light speed just as the Bitter Prophet detonated. 3 kilometers of warship turning into expanding plasma, taking with it the largest harvester operation in the expanse. We were halfway back to civilized space before I could form coherent thoughts again. The rescued humans were in the cargo hold. Torvik had converted it into temporary housing. They were drinking water, eating emergency rations, and very quietly processing the fact that one member of their species had apparently torn through a harvester vessel like a force of nature. I found Kira in the medical bay. The human medic, a woman named Dr. Lin, was finishing bandaging a cut on Kira's shoulder. 30 harvesters. I said. You killed 30 harvesters. 42 actually, Kira corrected. Some of them got caught in the reactor breach I started. Those probably shouldn't count toward my total. 42? They kept putting guards between me and the prisoners. I asked nicely. They declined. You know how it goes. Dr. Lin patted Kira's shoulder. All done. Try not to get stabbed for at least a week. Your body needs recovery time. No promises, Kira said cheerfully. I sat down heavily on a medical crate. How did you do all that? She considered the question seriously. Harvesters are big, strong, well-armed, but they've been successful for so long they got arrogant. Lazy security protocols, predictable patrol patterns, and they'd never fought a human before, so you use their arrogance against them. Exactly. Plus they keep their prisoners in one central location. Made extraction easier. Once I freed them, the prisoners helped. Humans are very good at improvising when survival is on the line. You started a mutiny. I may have suggested that the prisoners outnumbered the guards, and provided some weapons, and opened a few cell blocks. The harvesters had been holding people from 7 different species. Turns out, slaves don't like their masters much. Who knew? The trip back took 3 days. We delivered the rescued humans to the nearest council station. Human embassy personnel met us. Medical teams. Counselors. The Ambassador Hunt showed up, looking uncomfortable. He approached Kira while she was giving a statement to human military officials. Ms. Val, he began, Ambassador, I want to apologize for my earlier comments about unauthorized use of violence. I was wrong. You saved all of us at Krell 9, and now you've saved these people. I should have recognized your value from the start. Kira looked at him. Her expression was unreadable. Then she smiled. Small, genuine. You thought I was just administrative staff. That's okay. Most people underestimate me. Makes my job easier. Still, thank you. Just doing what needed doing. That's so human, I thought. Just doing what needed doing. Like she'd filed paperwork instead of staging a one-woman assault on a harvester command ship. The Council of United Sectors held an emergency session. Discussed the bitter profit incident. Argued about jurisdiction and laws and proper procedures. In the end, they quietly agreed to overlook the whole thing, because explaining that one human had destroyed a major harvester operation while rescuing prisoners would raise too many uncomfortable questions about their own inability to do the same. Kira received a formal commendation from Human Command. Something with an impressive name I couldn't pronounce. She accepted it, posed for one official photo, and then disappeared. Back to her transition program. Back to pretending to be a normal civilian. But the stories spread. Not just on Krell 9 now. Across the sector. The human called Death Whisper, who'd killed 19 Razorlocks, who'd killed 42 harvesters, who walked into impossible situations and walked back out, covered in other species' blood. I submitted my final report on human combat capabilities. 60,000 words, detailed analysis, historical context, tactical assessments. The conclusion was simple. Humans are persistence predators. They don't give up. They don't stop. They assess threats, adapt strategies, and keep coming until the problem is solved or they're dead. Preferably the former. Most species developed warfare out of necessity. Humans developed it as survival instinct raised to an art form. They're terrifying when threatened, unstoppable when protecting others, and absolutely, completely, utterly relentless. My recommendation: make friends with humans. Keep them as allies. Never ever make them your enemy. Because, when humans decide you're prey, when they decide you've threatened something they're protecting, when they shift from peaceful neighbors into hunting mode, you're already dead. You just don't know it yet. 3 months later, I was at a council intelligence conference presenting my findings. 47 species representatives in attendance. Everyone wanted to understand the humans who'd suddenly become impossible to ignore. During the question period, a Silicate Collective representative asked, should we be concerned about human military expansion? I thought about Kira, about how she'd only fought when necessary, how she'd protected people, how she'd given enemies chances to surrender before she killed them. No, I said, humans don't expand through conquest. They expand through cooperation, but they will defend themselves and their allies with extreme prejudice. The key is staying on their good side. And if we can't? Someone asked. I pulled up footage from the Krell 9 attack. Kira moving through corridors. Silent. Efficient. Lethal. Then footage from the Bitter Prophet. Energy signatures showing the path of destruction she'd carved through that ship. Then you should pray, I said, because once humans decide you're the enemy, once they label you a threat to be eliminated, your best hope is that they kill you quickly. The conference ended in silence. That night I got a message. Private channel. From Kira. Saw your presentation. You made me sound scary. I wrote back. You are scary. Only to bad guys. Still counts. Fair point. Hey, I'm being assigned to Earth Embassy Security. Permanent post at Krell 9. Apparently they want experienced personnel at major diplomatic stations. We'll be working together again. I stared at the message. Working with Death Whisper. On a regular basis. The human who'd casually mentioned killing 42 harvesters like it was a minor detail. I wrote back. Welcome to the team. Try not to kill anyone unless absolutely necessary. No promises. And that's how I became the intelligence officer assigned to support the most dangerous human in the sector. My life had definitely gotten strange, but you know what? I wouldn't change it. Because I learned something important through all of this. Something every species in the galaxy needs to understand about humans. They're not monsters. They're not killing machines. They're people. Complicated, contradictory, surprisingly kind people, who happen to be the galaxy's most effective predators when you push them to it. And honestly, I'm glad they're on our side, because I've seen what happens when they're not. Death Whisper. The human girl whose first kill took seconds, who earned her name by Nightfall. She's back on Krell 9 now, working security, being friendly to diplomats, probably helping lost tourists find the good restaurants, until someone threatens the station again. Until someone makes the mistake of thinking humans are soft, weak, easy prey. Then she'll remember what she is, and they'll learn why you don't threaten humans, or the things humans have decided to protect, the hard way.